Prisoners of war aren't considered much when it comes to the Clone Wars, as one could reasonably assume that they were fairly rare. After all, members of identical legions of droids are hardly worthy of capture, and considering that the CIS viewed clones as living droids, it would be a fair bet that the same applied to the other side. Except it didn't. The CIS did occasionally take prisoners, as shown in Battlefront 2. This begs the question, what did they do with them?
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
We don't know the answer for sure, but we do know that the living droid view of the clones was fairly prevalent among the commanders of the CIS. And from their perspective, they were, for all intents and purposes. Clones were similarly mass-produced and had limits on the extent of how independent they could act. That's all that really matters when it comes to your enemy's troops. But what about when those troops became your prisoners of war? Do those views carry over? The answer is simple, yes. In most cases, the CIS did a very simple thing with their battlefield prisoners. They shot them, just as the clones shot any stray droids that were still functioning at the end of the battles they won. So next time you're playing Battlefront 2 and you see a bunch of clones lined up in binders at the start of the match, let your curiosity over their fate be satisfied by the likely fact that they're probably just waiting until enough droids can be spared to quickly and efficiently vaporize the contents of their heads. But there is actually more to this matter. The CIS did keep some prisoners instead of killing them, though we dare say they likely would have preferred the blaster option. Some clones, like Echo or Alpha 17, were seen as potentially valuable strategically. Most of these clones were tortured for information and disposed of when their usefulness ran out, as would have been the case for Alpha. As we all know, what happened to Echo was even worse. He was hooked up to machines and used to crank out battle strategies for the Confederacy. Granted, this was only for special clones. The standard normie trooper was often correctly assumed to not have any valuable information or strategic use, and so they were probably just shot. Capture and interrogation was limited to ARC troopers, commandos, or officers, or special cases like with TUP. Clones weren't valued by the CIS as prisoners. They were seen as strategic assets, just like battle droids were. Of course, there is a third potential route that's even worse for any clone unlucky enough to experience it: the route of science. Separatist scientists worked tirelessly to create bioweapons that would only affect Jango Fett's genome. And while one unlucky trooper probably found himself as the source for the samples of this genome that the CIS had, many more likely found themselves in less desirable roles. After all, if it's clones you're looking to kill, clone guinea pigs are rather useful. So that's what the CIS did with their clone prisoners of war, and just in advance, I'm sorry to any of you that play Theed on Battlefront 2 in the near future, because now that you know the clones that you see are pretty much dead men unless you win the battle, so keep that in mind for motivation at least. And just before you go, make sure you check out all the links in the description below, including all of our Discords where you can chat with other Star Wars fans, and our Geetsly's gaming network where you can play Star Wars games with other Star Wars fans on our Gmod servers and our Roblox server. Also, if you are into history, check out my second channel called The Front, where we look at all the little and unknown facts of World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War, and are soon going to be expanding to other facets of history as well. Anyways guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.